Finally, new rule, instead of giving an I voted sticker to the people who did vote, let's make the people who didn't vote wear one that says, I couldn't be bothered. And then let's stop patting ourselves on the back for doing something we're supposed to do anyway. I voted? It's like wearing a sticker that says, I feed my dog. I flush after using the toilet. I keep my clothes on at the playground. Now, the election we held last week had the lowest turnout since 1942, when many Americans didn't make it to the polls because they'd been captured by the Japanese. And before you say voting should be easier in America, I agree. Things would definitely be better if there were laws that made Election Day a holiday, that allowed you to vote online, allowed you to vote without a picture ID. But you know how you get those laws? By voting. Russell Brand is in the news. He's a funny guy, but he just wrote a book that's more laughable, where he tells young people not to vote because the system is so awful and so dirty that the only solution is to bring it down. Not by violence, but not by voting either. No, by some sort of spiritual awakening. Oh, for fuck's sake. Fine, you know what? Don't vote, but don't dress it up as something noble or sophisticated. The fake excuses offend me. Like, politicians, they're all the same. No, you're thinking of the Lord of the Rings movies. Or, oh, it doesn't matter who wins. Well, in Florida last Tuesday, the Democrat lost the race for governor by 66,000 votes, and if he'd won, 700,000 poor Floridians would have gotten health insurance under the Obamacare Medicaid expansion that Republican governors block. So it would have mattered to them. And where did Americans get this idea that you shouldn't be expected to vote if there aren't candidates who excite you and energize your base? It's an election, not your taint. It's not a movie where you stay home if the trailer doesn't grab you. I'm so sorry you weren't inspired this time, that the candidates lacked charisma, but it's always been thus. And people used to just man up about it. You know, in 1964, almost 2/3 came out to pick between Johnson and Goldwater. And I don't want to say these two lack charisma, but those pictures are in color. But, you know, to me, the most annoying excuse for not voting, well, Obama didn't deliver on his promises. You sure about that? Maybe they just didn't cover it on TMZ. And anyway, the choice was never between the perfect Obama in your head and the real one who came to Washington. It's between the real one and the two guys who desperately wanted to beat him so they could stamp America in their image. So for those of you who think voting doesn't matter, let's imagine the alternative reality where Obama lost both times and the country for the last 6 years has been run by his rivals. In fact, for the purposes of our little fantasy, let's merge them and describe the country under President Mitt McCain. Under President Mitt McCain, the stimulus package never happened, and the auto industry was allowed to die. So we're now suffering through the 6th year of Great Depression II in 3D. Instead of Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan on the Supreme Court, we have Paula Deen and Joe the Plumber. And the nearest abortion clinic is in London. The Attorney General is Dick Cheney's head. President Mitt McCain has halted all work on renewable energy, but we have built a $1 trillion coal-powered electrified fence on the border to keep out the one Mexican who still wants to get here. Oh, and Homeland Security czar Ted Cruz has deported all 12 million illegals, so now we have no fruit. Now do you see voting makes a difference? How close to home do we have to get? There's no fruit, no jobs, your girlfriend is having a baby you don't want, you have no health insurance, and your tap water is on fire. But keep telling yourself that because politics is dirty, so very dirty, that you, precious, by not voting or informing yourself or participating in any way, are clean. Yeah, that's it. You've kept yourself pure because you haven't gotten your hands sullied by the gutter that is American politics. Well, you can keep telling yourself that, but the truth is, if your hands aren't dirty, it's not because you're pure. It's because you're not helping.